Yeah. The Aries Spears, Tiffany Haddish thing, video. Yeah, I seen the video. Like a lot of people. I think the video I saw might have been edited. I'm not sure if I watched the entire unedited version or not, because there's a lot of versions. There were a lot of versions floating around because people were censoring it or platforms were censoring it. But I saw the video. I think I saw, the gist of it. And I'm probably in the minority here, but just didn't think it was that bad, honestly. I think there's a whole lot of groupthink and following and shit like that at this point. Everybody's reaction and reacting to the other person's reaction, and a lot of it is the same shit. Everybody echoing the same shit, and I feel like really it's just people copying other people's emotions and shit, or people copying other people's responses. What I saw wasn't that bad. Looked like, some dark comedy or whatever. Some shit on like Adult Swim or, some Eric Andre type of shit. Honestly, they ain't really my comedy, but some of that shit, it also looks like it wasn't really meant to be funny. Like it wasn't really meant to be ha-ha funny, laugh out loud funny. It looked like Aries was in his dark bag, and it looked like some dark shit. And to its credit, it got people talking, and it caused a commotion or whatever. Probably not in the way he was hoping. Like he wasn't trying to get sued and all this kind of shit, but it did what it was supposed to do. You know what I mean? It was some like ill kind of shit, and that was people's response, and it got people talking. I think that's what it was for. It wasn't something that was going to be ha 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 funny. You know what I mean? It was kind of in the vein of where Chappelle is now sometimes, where Carlin is, when, he's telling you, hey man, the government's got you by the balls. It's fucked up. When you watch that special, Carlin's later stuff, it's not ha 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 funny. It's like, ooh, kind of stings a bit. Like, damn, and then there's a punchline in there. When you watch Dave Chappelle, going back to the joint where, he made a special about, what is it, 8:43 or 8 minutes 43 seconds or whatever it is about, the cop kneeling on George Floyd's neck. It wasn't ha 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 funny. How can that be ha 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 funny? He really has some shit to say and get off his chest. And because he's a comedian, he used his talents and his art form. He used that art form to kind of get that shit off. But it wasn't ha 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 funny. And that's what I saw when I looked at the skit. What I think Aries was attempting to do. But yeah, it's a lot of overreacting and people fake giving a fuck, and the kids, and people don't give a fuck about kids. People give a fuck about having the same reaction and talking the same as somebody else. People don't give a fuck about kids. People don't give a fuck about people. People step over homeless people every day to get to wherever the fuck they gotta go. Right now in your neighborhood, in some person's neighborhood, like Kids are being yelled at, cussed at, shut the fuck up, sit down, da-da-da-da-da. That's child. Nobody give a fuck. You're not gonna go to the person on the bus or wherever. Hey, don't do that. Don't talk to them. You need to be arrested. I'm calling the police on you. You don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Don't talk to me about child abuse when you've been feeding your kids McDonald's. You know what I mean? Don't talk about me about kids being in underwear and all this kind of shit. You let your kids walk around, they underwear showing. There's grown men walking around with their underwear showing who've basically been raised that way by, I don't know, women, absentee fathers, whomever, walking around with their underwear showing. Don't talk to me about kids in underwear and how offended you are when you can go to any elementary school, middle school, high school, it's kids walking around with their underwear out. Like right now, with their ass out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get all the fake outrage, you know. They were doing a skit. It wasn't actual sex on the set. It wasn't actual abuse. Stop equating this shit with actual child abuse. This was some shit that, you know, as a kid or as a grown man, these kids are now either teenagers or grown, early 20s or whatever. Like, don't tell me you looking back at that like, oh, and this is not helping me function. Nobody even knows who the fuck you are. You know what I mean? Like, embarrassed where? Embarrassed who? Nobody knows who the fuck you is. Before 2 weeks ago, nobody had even seen this video. And now that we've seen the video, man, you can walk in a room, besides your family and your friends, can't nobody pick you out no fucking lineup. Nobody even knows who these fucking people are. So I don't want to hear about embarrassment and all this kind of shit. Like, no one cares. No one knows who you are, and no one cares. And the people who screaming this and that, again, you know, everything is in an apples to apples comparison, but people don't give a fuck about people. People walk past and step over people all day. People walk past kids all day. Kids who ain't doing shit, ain't up to no good. Kids who got their ass out. Kids who this and that, or whatever they feel offended by that video. People walk past that shit all day, or worse. You know, people with kids talking about the kids is in their underwear, but won't tell their own kids to pull up their fucking pants. Kids is this and that, and then sit there and feed their kids Bojangles and Mountain Dew and McDonald's and all that other bullshit. Kids is this and that, but your child can't even fucking read on his grade level. Like, don't talk to me about fucking child abuse. I'm over these niggas fake being mad and fake outrage and all this bullshit, social engineering bullshit, because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And yeah, it's a shakedown. We seen this play before. You know what I mean? All they do is come out with some allegations and some documentary and frame it. You could have watched that same skit 2 weeks prior and not have no reaction to it. That shit could have been on Mad TV. That shit could be on SNL. That shit could have been on. You could have watched it on Adult Swim. You could have watched it on whatever. You wouldn't have had no reaction to it. Only reason people have a reaction to it because allegations and child abuse, those words and shit was attached to it. So they would start watching it through a certain lens and shit. But I ain't buying it. I'm about to buy me breakfast. That's my spiel.